let's get into the good stuff. NRL round 24 has concluded yesterday. Another great weekend. As I said, the Warriors got up. You love to see it. Before I start with the round review, guys, I want to quickly touch on Payne Haas going to Samoa. My thoughts. Awesome. This is so good for International Rugby League. So good. I listened to his interview that he had when he chose to represent Samoa, and he's talking about, listening to the anthems when they've played Samoas in it and wearing the Australian jersey, thinking about his mum and his childhood, singing with his brothers. That's what it's all about. That's what representing your country is all about. And Samoa is getting better and better with the talent that they have for rugby league. I saw their projected 17 or best 17 that you can make coming up for the Pacific Championships is coming after the season finishes. Holy shit! They could honestly make the World Cup final again next year. I believe the World Cup's next year. Wow, that team is good. This is why I want to see more international. I want to see more international rugby league. Like, you've got these star players in the NRL, and like, we play 27 rounds of NRL plus your finals. You've got your Origin in the mid-year, and it just feels like it is. The international game just lacks, and you can see when you play, like, nothing means more than playing for your country. Like, you talk about Queenslanders, what it is to play for their state. Playing for having a jersey for your country, representing, you're the best hooker in your country. You're the best 7 in your country. It's a huge honour, and now he's going to go straight into that starting lineup for Samoa because he's the best forward in the world. Now, Samoa now have the best forward in the world to lead them on, to inspire them. You're going to have Jerome Luai at 6 as well. This team will be serious business next year in the World Cup. It's going to be so good. You're going to Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa, England. Like, one of these teams is getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. There's 5 of them. Like, one of these teams getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. I hope it's England. But yeah. Anyway. Let's bloody get into it. NRL round 24. Thursday night, Storm Panthers was the grand final rematch. We talked about it during the week. It's going to be an absolute belter. Holy shit, did it provide. Storm winning in Golden Point, I believe it was 22-6. It was 22-18. All right, the controversy point was, what did we think of Harry Grant before Nathan Cleary's field goal that was brought back? Like, the people are saying, like, Moses blocked and Harry didn't dive, and then some saying that Moses was just standing there, like Moses Leota, and Harry took a dive. I think it's a bit of both. Like, I think if you look at the video, fast mode, you can clearly see Moses Leota had every intention of blocking for Nathan Cleary to kick a field goal. It was so obvious. It's been done before. No one's it's all obvious that it's going to happen. They've done it before. They've got away with it. And then Harry Grant, being the player that he is, he did Oscar it a little bit. He did put on a little bit of a show for it. But he had every right to, I think. And it's not to say, like, he did milk it a little bit. But imagine if he kicked the field goal. Like, I just don't think you can have a team winning that way with those sort of tactics where you knew, like, that it was a block, but it didn't quite affect the player, so let's get away with it, and that's how we're going to kick the field goal, and that's how you should kick field goals in the future. Like, that's just not footy. Like, that is just not footy for me. I was happy with the penalty. I even had even more respect for Klein to blow the penalty live. I think it took massive balls. I think it was the right call. I thought it was quite refreshing to actually see a ref stand up in that moment and call a penalty rather than sending it to the bunker or just letting the, making a wrong decision because the crowd says something. It was just really refreshing to see a ref blow a penalty when it should have been a penalty. They'll never blow a penalty for offsides off a drop, like a field goal attempt. I tip my hat. I give a little clap. I'm not going to clap straight into the mic, but that's what I want to see more of. The refs control, the players obviously control the flow of the game. The refs know how to control the game, and we don't like it, obviously, when it's whistle heavy, but you got to make the right calls, and I think you've got to have the balls as well to make that big call as a ref live when you see it there, knowing that if it's a wrong call, you can get hugely scrutinized, and there is scrutinization in the media about it. Nah, not for me. I back it. I thought, penalty every day of the week. I was absolutely happy with it. And speaking of Harry Grant, that fucking try, he is the best hooker in the world, not just by a little much, not just by a little bit. Let's just say Blake Brayley is the second in form hooker at the moment. This is like Tiger Woods against the rest of the pack back in these peak days. This is you can clearly see when Harry Grant is on how much of a difference it makes to a game. As soon as he gets that ball from a little bit of a slow defense and a fast play the ball, bang, he is gone. He just takes advantage of the tired defense straight away and then completely exposes him. He completely opens the game up for the Storm. And it's a bit of it, not a shame, because he's injured at the moment, he'll be back for finals. Harry makes a huge difference to this team in regards to the service that it gets. And you can clearly see that when Harry is not there as well. Jerome Hughes, I think, is still a massive linchpin for this time, for the spine. When you've seen the games that he's not played Jerome, you can clearly see there's just that level of, execution, smoothness. And you're going to get that without having a star 7. But we've seen the Storm in the past, still compete where they've had Origin players out. I think they're still competitive when Munster's out. I think they're still really competitive when Pappenhausen is out, which he's been out a bit this year and he was out. But I think Jerome Hughes is the linchpin to this team. He is the one that holds the spine together. He holds the attack together. You can clearly see the direction and the kicking game that they have is so much better when he is the 7. And they just, yes, they won, but you could just clearly see they just missed that little bit of execution. I thought they got dominated in the first half. To be honest with you, I thought Panthers dominated most of the game. I thought it was complete Panthers footy pretty much in the first half. Again, they did it last week against the Knights. They're up by 14-4 at halftime, I believe it was. And even then, the try that Storm had was Xavier Coates going absolutely nuclear in the air. We talked about Xavier Coates on one of my reels I posted during the week as a best bet to score. This kid is a freak. He is unreal in the air. He is an absolute aerial freak. It is insane to see. You can clearly see when the ball goes cross field to the left wing. It's Xavier Coates all day of the week, and that was such a mismatch against Bizza on Thursday night. And Bizza is one of the greatest wingers we've ever had. That is definitely due to his height. I can relate too. He just struggled. He's just always going to struggle in the air compared to a guy like Xavier Coates. And then I thought, second half, Blaze throws the intercept to Coates, runs down the field, awesome put down, nearly got out as well, similar to last week. But there was just a couple, moments where in the second half Panthers did let the Storm back in. But as I said, the Storm scored points off Panthers' errors. Like, they didn't actually really score much off their own attack. And I mean, it took a Harry Grant absolute special in Golden Point through the dummy, fooled about 6 or 7 of them. Dylan Edwards is still running the other way, I think, at the moment. Straight under the 6. Absolutely, he was in for all money. Absolutely fooled everyone. It was, as I said, he's the best hooker in the world by a country mile. To put his spine on his back like that, like his rugby league spine, and just control a game like that and be able to just do that play at that time against the 4-time premiers in a row. Storm are still a massive threat come finals time. As soon as they get Hughes back, Pappenhausen is going to be back this week. All going well, they're still going to have your Pappenhausen, Munster, Hughes, and Harry Grant as your spine. They're still going to have Uto Ikamanu at your forward, who I think has been unreal the last month or even the last couple months since Origin. I think he's definitely grown another leg. I think he's gone to another level. Xavier Coates is a freak, as we've said. He cannot stop scoring tries. I believe it's about 8 tries in the last 5 games now, 2 doubles, a hat-trick, and then just have one game with 1. You've still got your Nick Meaney in your centres. You've still got, Joe Chan, I think, is fitting really well in the centres at the moment. You've got Eli Katoa, arguably one of the best second rowers in the NRL. He's going to be playing at the end of the year for sure. Trent Loiero, Trent Loiero started for Queensland this year. No one thought it would happen, but after game 3, thoroughly deserved. They've got the Queensland 13 in their team as well. This team is stacked. This team will be there again come finals time. I can definitely agree that Storm have looked a little bit off at times this year, just not quite Storm footy, but you know the potential that they've got, and to be able to win a game like that where they were $2 at the start of the week to win, and then Panthers got it to about $1.50, so Storm were about $2.50, $2.60 to win. In Sydney, it's just so gallant. Like, it's just Storm. It's just what the Storm do. They've done it for so long, over 20 years now. They just keep doing it. They just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And we shouldn't be surprised anymore. We should not be surprised anymore. But as long as they got Bellamy there, in my opinion, they're going to be up there. And he's extended another year, and they're going to be there again come finals time. It's just the way it is. As long as Bellamy is there, he's such a good coach that they're going to be there. Alrighty, next game of the round. My boys, the Waz. And firstly, up the Waz. Getting the win against the Dragons. Wow, it was, shout out to the Dragons. So let's just start on the Dragons quickly. 3 HIAs in the first half. It's like unheard of. I don't think I've watched a rugby league game that's had that in the modern game. Especially like 3 forwards as well. It just, like, usually in the modern game, you just get blown out by 30 plus. You're relying on your big forwards to play 60 plus minutes, close to 80. Jack de Belin goes down in his milestone game. Like, all the odds, all the cards went against the Dragons. Playing in New Zealand, playing a team that's still fighting for your top 4. Dragons are, they're most likely out of it before that game, but they're probably definitely out of it now. Man, I thought they were the better team. Like, I've seen comments like, yeah, it was good to see, like, the Warriors, they still got up, they still managed to get the win, while the Dragons played really good, we still got the win. Like, as I said at the start, like, the Dragons lost 3 forwards in the first half. Like, I think, in my opinion, the Warriors with their forward pack, Jackson Ford and Fish and Vaimunga and Leka, I think we should, and Styler Smith, I love Styler Smith, I think we should absolutely be winning that game by double digits. If we're serious about the team that we are, we win that game by double digits. But as I said, shout out to the Dragons. They put in such a good effort, and I said I really thought they deserved it. I truly believe if there's no HIAs in that game for them, I think they win that game. I mean, I think you could clearly see it watching it that the Dragons just wanted it probably a little bit more, and they were the better team, but they were just tired at the end, and I think the Warriors just slowly ran over them. Max Fine, 2 tries, strolled through again. Our right edge defense, nothing new here. This is another 2 tries on that right edge. Worrying sign. Let's get into the Warriors. We touched on it a little bit before, but as I said, we're talking about a team, we're top 4. We've been pretty good. I think we've exceeded expectations most of the year, definitely so far. Yes, we've had injuries. We've got Metcalf gone down. We've had Barnett gone down. But we've still got a good coach. We've still got good players coming through. We still should be beating the Dragons quite convincingly. We were, good favourites to win. And them losing 3 forwards in the first half. And we've got one of the best halves. Not best halves. Best forwards. Who's won 4 premierships in a row for Penrith. And Jackson Ford, he's had a really good solid month in the middle. We should be I just think we should be steamrolling them. And it's frustrating. It's kind of don't get me wrong, they've far exceeded my expectations for this year. But if we're actually serious now, if we're actually going we are a top 4 caliber team. Top 4 teams put away a side like that by 10, 20 plus at home when you're fighting for a top 4 spot. I'm seeming very critical after a win, but I've seen we've had some a lot of our losses being quite bad this year. We've had way better wins than that this year. All of our wins, I think that was our worst win that we've had this year. I really did walk away from that game not satisfied whatsoever. I was already anxious about the Gold Coast game this weekend, knowing our poor record. And I think the Titans team is just going to be too quick for us. And just going to be too good for us. They proved it in New Zealand about a month ago. Why can't they do it again? I'm not seeing it from my boys at the moment to say, yeah, look, we could definitely sneak in the top 4. We could easily lose against the Gold Coast. We could easily lose next week at home against Eels. It happened last year. The Eels were favourites for the wooden spoon, and we lost to them as double-digit favourites at home. And then we've got Manly in the last round, and that's going to be DCE's probably last game. I don't think Manly's going to make the finals. It's going to be DC's last game for Manly. It's going to be a huge send-off, and we're going to be fighting for maybe a top 4 spot. We have 3 losses in a row. We could be in danger of finishing around 8th. That bad. I think we will make finals. I don't know if I think there's still a mathematical chance we can definitely still miss finals for sure. I think for sure, some of the teams in the bottom half of the 8 are playing way better than us at the moment. Broncos had a great win on the weekend. They look when Ezra and Adam Reynolds get back, they're going to be fit and firing. Bruce Walsh looks really good. Sharks had an awesome win on the weekend. They've got the bye this week, and they've got a couple games after that. They're hunting for the top 4 as well. Roosters, they're absolutely playing the lights out. Their best of the season so far. I think we're nowhere near 4th at the moment. The points difference on the ladder would definitely indicate that as well. We're about plus 12. Everyone around us is over 100. We're fully relying on just getting the win at the moment. And I need to see better. Probably your best performers, I think, for the night. I thought Jackson Ford had a really solid game. He did have a couple errors. He did give away a penalty. He is suspended now for 3 weeks. I thought Dallin actually had quite a strong game from the back. Quite a lot of tough runs, which is good to see. And I thought Roger was good again. Like we talked about Roger during the week, I believe, a little bit. I did get him in Supercoach. I did vice captain him. Look, he scored 72. He made his fair whack of meters. Again, he just didn't quite finish off the tries that I was hoping for, but he's still taking the really tough runs from the back. He's helping Tane Torpicky a little bit at the back as well with that, getting good yardage. So you can't knock Roger too much. Like, he hasn't scored the tries that, we thought he would, but he's still solid. He was still doing exactly what he does week in, week out. Bit of a low. I thought this was easily Fish's worst game in a Warriors jersey. I'm not sure what was going on with Fish. He just gave away an early penalty, gave away a couple penalties. He had a couple errors, and then he just didn't look in it. And that was weird to say for the captain. Like, he did a brilliant, beautiful walkout for Indigenous round with the Māoris. I'm not sure if that affected how he played. He just lost a little bit of focus. He just didn't look quite there. And I'm glad we got the win, because I'd be super pissed off if we lost that game. And yeah, I think our captain really let us down. But let's move on from the Warriors. Friday night, Bulldogs Roosters. Holy hecker. The Roosters are absolutely flying at the moment. They put 60 on the Dolphins last weekend, and they've just absolutely towed up the doggies. It started with Roosters pressure right from the kickoff. Dogs had a set finish on their own 10-metre line. It took a Matt Burton 80-metre kick to absolutely send it down the other way. And we thought, was that a bit of a momentum change? Is that obviously that's what Burton can provide for their kicking game? Does it give the Dogs a bit of momentum? No. We should have seen it that the Roosters will keep that pressure up for the rest of the game. The Dogs will be mostly in the half for the rest of the game. And the Dogs they were not in it either. They were clearly the second better team on paper that night, being the worst team. They were really off. I thought they were really ill-disciplined. A lot of silly penalties, silly errors. I don't want to criticize, and it's not just all on him, but there's been a clear shift from when Galvin has gone to 7. But I also think that's off the back of Cameron Ciraldo's decisions in his team lineups and just who he wants to start. They were the doggies were absolutely flying. Let's not beat around the bush. They were top of the table for up to about round 12 or 13. Toby Sexton was at 7. All of a sudden, they get Galvin mid-year. What do in their halves? They try to flick Galvin off the bench. It's just not quite working. Sexton was still playing 7, and the gelling was really weird. They put Burton at centre, Galvin at 6, and Sexton in the halves with him. And in the end, they had to choose Galvin because that's just who they signed. And shit for Toby. He was playing stellar footy in my opinion. Is he the future Bulldog 7? No, but they were top of the table. And now he's off the Super League, so he's gonna absolutely fucking kill it over there. Man of Steel next year, Jesus Christ. But as I was saying, Ciraldo's decisions to put Galvin at 7 permanently, to put Bailey Hayward at 9, and essentially not even put Reed on at 14 for the last sort of 20 minutes of the game. Reed was fine. Reed was doing completely fine. I'm not sure if there's something going on inside that we don't know about. I said they were top of the table. His serves is good. He's got that aggressiveness, and he's got that gruntness of a hooker that as an opposing player would absolutely piss you off to high heavens, which it does. We've clearly seen how many times players get riled up over something that Reed says, gets in their face, bang, see you later, 10 in the bin, Golinskis, good night. And they've just kind of lost that a little bit. Like, you know, what I have seen is it hasn't been lost from Critter. Critter is clearly top 2 center in the game. Will be for the next 5 years at least. Him and Herbie. He is what the Bulldogs are all about. He is a true Bulldogs player. He absolutely, I mean, they all rip in, but you can clearly see he rips in week in, week out. He's just got a different passion for rugby league. And he's just got Bulldogs written all over him, in my opinion. He's a premiership winner. He's scored tries in big games, Origins, all his grand finals. And he's so effective at centre, and he's starting to move back into fullback when they're on attack as well. And I'm thinking that's working really well. But again, just like another mid-season change. Like, yeah, I know Connor Tracy was out, but he's back. It's just a lot of chopping and changing for a team that's top 4, top of the table, top 2. Like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Like, I don't know, is the mid-season thoughts like, yeah, let's go even one better than what we are right now during the season and think it'll, like, happen straight away? Or are they thinking they're not quite the premiership team that they're thinking at the moment, and that there's better teams and they're not a premiership team, which they've been top 4 all year, and I'd be shocked if they were thinking that, and they're thinking ahead to next year and obviously in the future with Galvin. I get that they had to get Galvin on the market then because another team was going to sap him up, most likely like Parramatta or something. But at what price? Like, have they potentially lost a chance at a really good shot at a premiership this year? Maybe. I think actually they'll have a massive point to prove this weekend. They're going down to Melbourne. They have a good record down there recently under Serraldo. They've got every point to prove. As I said, they got absolutely dusted by the Roosters. It was super clinical by the Roosters. They're all gelling. And Sammy Walker has just added an absolute another layer to this attack. And he's just been so instrumental. He's just got this X factor and this flair of a really young player that is just, it just fits the Roosters DNA on attack to an absolute T, and it's working really well with Savala at the 6 there. But just Sammy's kicking game, like these crossfield kicks to Daniel Tupou, they're absolutely pinpoint. He absolutely nails them. He'll get a line break, and he'll, like this try against Manly that they scored, line break, gets the ball, and just thinks he goes down to, and just first thing he thinks is kick to the crossfield, straight left, absolutely nails it, like on the chest. I'm super excited if he stays healthy. How this Queensland team may look in the future. This veering off NRL for a little bit. Him and Dearden fighting out for the 7 every year. It's definitely Dearden's for sure for next year. Like game 1, 100%. He's just taking us one in decider. That's unanimous. But Sammy Walker just adds such a key factor to this Roosters side where it's just that little bit extra spark and that extra gear, and he's just got that flair. He plays backyard footy, can throw a 30-metre pass when he wants to, loves a chip over the top, and just this very much innuendo, spontaneous stuff, and it just makes Sammy Walker, and the game is so much better having him healthy and back. He's such a good young talent from Queensland, and he's going to be around the NRL for years and years to come. He should be the Roosters 7 until he retires, unless a team was to absolutely throw the bag at him and he wanted to come home, back to Queensland potentially. I can see him being at the Roosters for quite a long time. I don't see any reason to move Sammy Walker on. I don't think they have a reason to sign DCE. They've got good young talent coming through in their halves. There's no need to sign DCE. Sammy can lead. This is Sammy's team. This is clearly Walker's team. This is his attack with Tedesco. When he's there, Tedesco is such a good support player and just a better overall player, in my opinion, when Sammy's there. Just takes that little bit of extra pressure off Tedesco, and they're looking good, man. They're looking good. Crater looked good. Like Angus Crichton looked good. Daniel Tupou scoring tries at will. Nwangani Tawase, he just had a hat trick last week. He's always going to be a threat. You know Spencer's there. Shout out Naf White. Holy crap. He's been awesome this season. He had an awesome start to the season. He's got so much potential. He's just confirmed his allegiance to New Zealand as well today for later in the end, which is fucking unreal. Love to see it. Roosters need to lock this guy up as well. Naf White, he is 100% exceeded my expectations and a lot of other people's expectations at the start of the year. Could he fit that starting prop role that they were looking for with Wairi Hargraves gone? Yes. Like, he's got that grunt in him. He's got that aggressiveness in him. He's been awesome this year for the Roosters, in my opinion. Definitely one of their best. And he absolutely destroyed the Bulldogs. Absolutely destroyed the Bulldogs. Quick one as well. Victor Radley absolutely shut down kick out all night. And this is the player that Radley can be. Like, he's going to be playing for England in the Ashes most likely later this year. We know his potential. Like, we've seen it before with Radley. And then some games we just don't quite see it, like, you know, the Simbins and whatnot. But you can clearly see how good of a player Victor Radley is. And he was clearly asked to take care of Viliami Kikau on Friday night, and he absolutely excelled it out of the park. Shut down Kikau most of the night. As I said, the Bulldogs didn't really have a breath of chance all night, in my opinion. Was Roosters all the way from minute 1 to minute 80. One of the best performances of the year, clinical wise. Friday night, prime time, when you needed it to solidify a spot in the top 8 come finals. And man, they're looking scary. There's a chance that the Warriors finish 5th and the Roosters finish 8th, and the Roosters have to go to New Zealand. Whoa, what a game that's going to be. What a game. Saturday Arvo, 3 p.m. Sharks have absolutely obliterated the Titans. Look, the Titans have put up a gallant fight over the last couple of weeks. Couple unlucky losses against Souths and Panthers where, yeah, I guess they were robbed somewhat. Like, it's weird to say it's being robbed, but you had the trainer incident against Penrith, and then they said that Jaden Campbell should have had a penalty try against that game at South. So, did that affect them this weekend? I'm not sure. Like, the Titans were knocking on in the first half. They were in their own half. They were the Titans that we're used to, and there's a reason why they're bottom of the table. Unfortunately, Jaden Campbell, like, he took about 2 runs in like the first half, I believe. Like, if this attack is going to, like, if this team is going to excel, especially the attack, Jaden Campbell isn't your standard, like, 7 from 10, 20, all these days ago where it's all that kicking game. He is the modern day 7 of what we see. He is a Jerome Hughes. He is a Sam Walker. He is a Nico Hines. He's better than Nico Hines, in my opinion. He's got this elusive running game. Like, he's a fullback at 7, and he's running twice, 2 times and a half. Like, what's going on here? How can you expect to win a game when your star 7 is running twice and a half? Like, and it showed. They were down 28-10 at half time. They came good out of the blocks. They were up 6-0, had a great try, and then just silly errors, like, and just not the right team tactics. Like, they completely shied away from the really good attacking game, and like, Jaden was feeding it off, and it's just not how their attack works. And when the Sharks are in the mood, they can pound you, and that's what the Sharks have struggled with a little bit this year. Like, we know that they can put points on. We know they've got the attack. They've got the star. Do they have the grunt and the fierceness to absolutely put away a team and say, no, we want to absolutely smash you today and put on an absolute clinic and pound you to the ground? I don't think we've seen it this year. Like you could say, people being frauds. And We've seen it the last few years. They get to finals time, just can't win, straight sets. They got the monkey off the back last year, and I thought they were pretty good, actually, against Penrith last year in the preliminary. But I think this is what the Sharks needed. A really good absolute fisting of Gold Coast, putting 50 plus on. And Nico did what Nico does. Again, another fullback that we've seen come from like Melbourne or something, play at 7. Is his best position 7? Maybe not, but he's also won a Dally M at 7. But when Nico takes control of this attack and this team, the team is so much better on attack. Like, and he gets that ball and he starts running, it's game over. And you can clearly see when the Sharks are just that touch bit off. Trindle's a little bit off. Like, usually one of them's really on. And Hines just starts, catching and passing to Trindle. You just don't quite see the same attack. But as soon as Hines gets that ball and starts darting, he starts running, he opens up and overlaps straight away. He opens up a 4-3. He opens up a hole straight away because he is a talented player. He has got the talent. He's so good in his day. As I said, he's a Dally M medal winner. Like, the Dally M system could be better, but he's definitely been easily one of the best players in a regular season. And we know he's got that talent. He just hasn't shown at Origin level. And I'd love to see a little bit more gruntness and a bit more oomph from Nico as well. Because I really like Nico. I really do think Nico has what it takes. I hate all the scrutiny that he gets in the media because I think he's such a good player. Like, all this shit about, let's move him to lock, or let's get him off the bench. Oh, no, he just shouldn't. Why is he on $1 million? This is why he's on $1 million. Like, he's clearly the best player on that team, maybe minus like your Fanua Blakes or something like that. He's clearly the best player in their spine. Blake Brayley, yes, isn't in form at the moment. But when Nico's on, this team is on. And if you've seen previous Nico highlights, when you're running that ball, the Sharks are so much better team. And I discussed it in my Supercoach preview on Friday that if Nico's on and the Sharks do hammer the Titans, that you will see Ronaldo or Katoa most likely turn up as well. Nailed it. They both scored a double, all in the second half as well. Ronaldo scored about twice in 5 minutes, and then Katoa scored another 2 straight after that. And one was off a beautiful ball from Nico, straight to Ronaldo, who opened up the space, and Nico scored a double himself. He's got the support play like a fullback does. As I was saying, massive performance by the Sharks there. They really did need a really good spanking of a team. They've got the bye next week. They've got what a time to ask for have a bye. Like, you've come back and I believe they've got the Bulldogs, and I'm not sure who they've got in the last round, but you've got a bye, and then for them, I would be looking at 6 weeks of finals footy. And the 2 weeks before, after your bye, you're going to be fresh. Use that as such a good time to prep yourself for finals. Do they have a shot come finals time? If they do performances like that, yes, it's the Titans. Let's just not beat around the bush. Yes, it's the Titans, but they still put 56 on. We do need to see it against the top 8 team for sure, particularly a top 4 team. We need to see him beat a Nathan Cleary. We need to see him beat a Jerome Hughes or something like that when the time matters. When the time matters. That's really important for them. Can they put all the pieces together? They've got such a good team on paper, and they've had such a good team on paper for the last 5 years. It really hasn't changed. I don't know. I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all. So, anyway, next game, 5:30. The Brisbane Derby was Broncos-Dolphins, and this was just like the most Broncos Dolphins home derby, most typical Broncos game that you'll see. Like, you knew after last week somewhat the Dolphins, after conceding 60, would turn up. They had to. They had no choice. They're fighting for their first chance to get into the finals. They had to turn up Brisbane Derby against their rival, against their big brother, and they did. 100% did. I really like the change having Trey Fuller at the fullback. Good to see him really play and return to NRL. Hammer at left centre where Herbie is. I didn't think I'd have too much trouble in attack because I've got that speed with Hammer there in the left centre. Now, Hammer is amazing on attack, but a big reason why he plays fullback. Some of the defence, him marking Katoni Staggs was absolutely questionable. Staggs had an absolute field day against him. That try that he scored, I mean, that is just typical Staggs. That is what we love to see from Staggs, but very questionable defending from Hammer. So, look, he does it in Origin, but at club level, I don't think he's a centre, in my opinion. And the Dolphins, they had a chance to win this game, and they're leading in the second half by 2 tries. And looked good too. I thought at halftime it was a really tight game, and I thought, you know what? Maybe Broncos, they just think that they've probably been a little bit of a better team, and they'll just kind of get away in the second half a little bit. And you just saw, probably with Broncos' experience with Madge at halftime, that they'll probably just come out at halftime the better team again. Despite it being really tight at halftime, Dolphins did have the lead. And Dolphins just went bang, bang, straight out the blocks. And you just thought, holy shit, this is so good to see. Dolphins beating up on their rival. They mean business. It's so good to get out of halftime and do that. Alright, I just had to figure out where I was at because my laptop was about to go flat, and I guess what you get for probably not charging it during the day. So that's what you get for also being a rookie in this area at the moment. So going on from the Dolphins, and man, they were in it. They were, I said, up a couple tries. They had every right to win that game. I thought they showed tremendous grit in the first half, and I thought Broncos were potentially the better team, but Dolphins had definitely turned up. And then you just saw the shady defense that happened from the week against the Roosters. And when the hole started to open up a little bit for the Broncos, they can just flick that switch, and it was go time. And what I did really love to see from the Broncos was Reece Walsh was getting really involved. When I mean really involved, not like getting the, doing these miracle plays, that sort of thing that we know he can do. I mean, taking runs at the backfield. I mean, in the first 2 minutes, I saw him in the midfield and the halfway. He took a run, just like straight up. That's what you want to see from Walsh. You want to see him getting more involved in taking the game more on. We know he's got this extreme talent and this extreme pace to absolutely blitz a defense and get straight through, do this all special shit. But there's also, he's missing that part of his game where he can take the tough meters and still run for 200 meters a game, take 20 runs plus a game. And it was really good to see. I thought he was really involved and he added really a lot to this attack and definitely adds such a spark and really did help with Ben Hunt and Billy Walters in the halves. And I thought their combination, he was going left to Shibasaki, put Shibasaki a couple line breaks. He put Karapani through. He was putting Staggs through, going through the middle. I thought he was really involved. Really good to see from Reece Walsh. As an overall performance by the Broncos, this is just like the most typical Broncos performance you'll get. Pretty much sums them up, sums up their performances for the year. That, they'll just hang around in a game kind of in the first half, might not look too flashy, and then they'll get behind, and you're like, yep, here it is, the Broncos are just kind of throwing a game again. They're a top 4 caliber team, but they just don't have the heart to win games like this. They just don't have quite like the heart like the Dolphins in the toughness. They just don't have the toughness. And then, bang. They just flick a switch. They can just flick the switch where Walsh goes, fuck that, give me the ball. Payne Haas gets back on. They start charging straight up through the middle, and the holes start opening. And once the holes start opening, they just absolutely torched the Dolphins. They ended up winning by about 16 in the end. So they scored about 4-5 tries in the second half, and they were basically all in the last sort of 25, 20 minutes. They absolutely came home with a wet sail. They really exposed that Dolphins defense, and they won convincingly in the end. And did the scoreline show how that game was for most of it? No, I don't think so at all. As I said, I thought Dolphins were pretty solid for most of that game, but the defense has got issues big time. They've got Manly this weekend. They're fighting for their finals. Like, they've got 3 weeks to go to really make a push for their first ever finals appearance in their 3rd year, which would be amazing. I think they were so close last year. They were 1 game off. Love what Katoa is doing at 7, but that defense for the Dolphins as little to be left desired. Next game, South Eels. I watched most of this game. Not going to lie, I thought it was a bit of a bludger. Not too much was happening. Not a lot happens, but I did think the ticker from South was good to see. Big improvement on the stuff that they've had earlier this season, considering their season's done, considering that they're fighting kind of for a wooden spoon, not really anymore. Couple wins. It was, they showed some real grit and the real ticker, and that starts, I mean, easily the player of the match for me. Didn't even score a try, but Jai Gray at the back. Holy shit. He is an absolute superstar. He looks so good out there. In the South team, what does the future look like with Jai Gray, with Latrell Mitchell? I think Jai Gray has to be the fullback there next year, round 1 next year, if they're healthy. Latrell in the left centre. We'll see how it goes this weekend against Dragons, but he is an absolute super. He's about 5'6", and he's an absolute weapon. And I just love it. He just gets so involved, takes the tough carries at the backfield. Like, there's no excuse for. He has no excuse, but he's got a massive excuse because of his size. He's always the tiniest player in the field, but like defense-wise, his effort plays is unreal. And I'll quickly go through his stat line for you. 27 runs, 217 meters, 6 tackle breaks, 1 line break assist. As I said, he did not score. He did not even have an assist. 87 Supercoach points. Pretty bloody good. So most of that is, a lot of that isn't base. There's about 60 of that in base. Supercoach points, and I don't even mention in my stats, do not even talk about his defense that he had. He basically won them this game. He made a couple absolutely awesome try-saving tackles, but they were in for, Parramatta was in for all money, and you just think there's no way this smaller fullback can tackle anyone else maybe from behind when they're at top speed, but he puts his body on the line, and that's what Souths have missed this year. They've missed that person putting their body in the line. And of course, there's been a couple of players for South this year, particularly like Jai Arrow, who have showed that toughness. But we know what South's potential is like. We know when they're healthy, what their team is like on paper and how good they can be. But have they got the grit? Have they got the firepower? Has like Keon got the ticker in him to get in someone's face? We know Latrell can get in someone's face, but can he do it without getting suspended? But that's what Jai Gray is. Like we talked about, Critter. Like Critter is a bulldog. And that's what it means to be a bulldog. Like that's what South is as well. And they're the oldest club in the league with Roosters, and he sums up South, what Souths are all about, and where they've come from through coming back into the NRL. Like, he sums up for me, what a South player should be, no matter, like, what your size, no matter, how small you can be, or this or that if you put on that red and green jersey, you've fucking rip in. You absolutely put in. It was so good to see. He was absolutely electric, easily the best player on the field by an absolute country mile, in my opinion for sure. Quickly on the Eels. Oh, just a frustrating loss. Like you can kind of see what they're trying to do, and I get it's all about next year. Like this year is definitely done for them. Like we're gonna see them way better next year, in my opinion. I definitely think next year they're a smoky for a top 8 for mine. You can see what they're trying to build, but at the moment it's just not quite coming together, and you can see Moses getting a bit frustrated with that. The combos just aren't quite linking up to what he wants, and they're not scoring enough points at the moment for me. Clearly, as I said, South put in a really good shift in defense, but I think Eagles have got a really young, talented spine on paper with a veteran at 7 who knows what they're doing, who has gone to Brisbane before for New South Wales and won a decider. Like, you've got Papali'i, you've got Iongi, and you've got Riley Smith as well. Like, Riley Smith is going to be one of the better hookers in 2, 3, 4 years' time, 100%. And it's just not quite gelling together at the moment. And I think it will. I do have a lot of belief in what Jason Riles is doing, and I really like what he's doing. But the Dylan Brown situation is really tricky because he's still a really good player, but I agree, there's no point having him in the halves if he's not going to be there next year. And Riles is his first year as head coach. He knows he's not going to win the premiership in his first year. He verbally came out and said before the year even started that it's a rebuilding year. We are rebuilding. So they're going to be better next year. And as I said, my smoky for the top 8 next year, 100%. Once everything gets going with Iongi, Papali'i, Moses, Riley Smith, you got Fox on the wing. You've got Penasini. I think there's a really good player in Penasini there. Lomax on the wing. Haven't even mentioned Lomax. I think Jack Williams is really good as well. Jermaine Hopgood, he's played Origin before. Kalma Tuolangi, he just hasn't quite unlocked his potential. He's just still quite fine-tuning his game. I think we're still looking at a really strong team on paper in the next couple of years. And Bailey Simonson has just will be leaving. He's on the open market now. So, I mean, I think it'd be an awesome pickup for the Warriors, to be honest. Going back to New Zealand, I think that would be fucking rad as. Yeah, so that's me on the Eels. Sunday afternoon, next game, Tigers against Manly, and wasn't able to watch too much of this game, but got a fair share, watched a bit of the highlights, and I think the scoreline definitely summed up how the game was played. Tigers clearly the better team on the day. Manly just flat, like just lost that zip about them. I saw a stat that they scored, like, they were up 24-0 against the 12 boys, 24-0 against the Cowboys in the first, 20 minutes in round 1. Absolutely blitzed it. They put, 40 on, I think, the Cowboys in round 1. And in about the last 3 or 4 games, they scored about 34 points altogether. Like, where has this attack gone? Like, we can talk about the elephant in the room, but is DCE leaving at the end of the year really this excuse for this backline to be poor? Really? Like, look at the other, like, DCE is not the whole team of Manly. Look at this team. Like, we had Turbo at fullback. We had Lehigh on the wing. He got injured, but they've got Garrick on the other wing. You've got Tolata Kola, whose best position isn't even centre. Nowhere near it. You saw this try he scored against them to open the match. He is immensely talented. You've got Luke Brooks, who is a veteran in the NRL now. He's been around long enough to manage a game somewhat at 6. You've got the ex-Queensland captain at 7 still. You've got good service from Simpkin at 9, in my opinion. You've got Jazz Tavanga, who has been a really good buy this year. they've really missed Paseka in the middle this year. Him getting injured really early on in the season they've really lost that punch that Paseka provided. Like, Gerbo's on HIA, that's okay. I don't think Gerbo provides too much apart from like the inspiration, maybe. Yes, he's a good player, but he doesn't dictate this team. He's injured. You got Ola Kawatu. Like, you got Burbo as well. Like, what's this excuse for this Manly team? Like, where is Seabold taking this team? Where is Anthony Seabold going with this team? Like, and I don't think they're anywhere near a premiership team. Like, and they should be on paper. That we just named it. It's a top 4 team on paper. That backline is sublime. It is, on their day, so hard to stop. But again, where's the toughness? Where's that grit to really absolutely pound and want it? Like, it seems like when they face a good defense or stuff just isn't going their way, like, they just can't battle it out with the other. They just don't have I don't know. It's like, do they want it enough? Turbo back to fullback. Like, should have been Lehigh. I don't know. Like, it's so hard to say. Like, I didn't get it all week. I said it as well on my reel on Friday that I didn't get why people were trading in Tom Trbojevic into Supercoach and then even captaining in him. I didn't really understand it all. Look, he got updated to 59 in the end. He finished on 41. In retrospect, he did have 24 runs to 200 meters. But if we're talking about the turbo that we know on his day can do that, maybe 250 meters. Tackle breaks, line assists, tries, assists. He is the core a lot to that attack. And you looked at Taylor May's try, that line break that he had. He just absolutely, Taylor May just easy step around Turbo. Turbo left standing there. That's what I mean. Where is this team going? And like, they should be a top 8 team. They're a top 8 caliber team. But I think as long as Seabold is there, in all honesty, that they're not going to go far. I don't think, apart from that 1 year that Seabold had with the Broncos, I just don't think he is the coach that Manly are after. And this is not me saying bring back Desi, bring back Tuvi. Like, there's a better team at Manly right now than what they are. They should not be getting dusted by Tigers 13 plus and scoring only 12 points. Like, I'm sorry. You've got a way better team than scoring 12 points. 6-0 up after the first minute thanks to absolute individual brilliance by Kohler. And then 6 for the rest? What are we doing here? And like, let's just go into the Tigers. Like, full credit to the Tigers. They've been playing some great footy, and I knew they'd have their tails up for this game. I thought they'd get the win, and it clearly showed. They just wanted it more just by watching the highlights. You clearly see these Tigers players just wanted it more in the day, and I think they could have scored way more. I think they blew a try with Fainu in the first half. Luai, they put them through a huge gap. I don't know how they didn't score, but I still felt like their attack could have been even a little bit better. But the main thing is they kept Manly to 12. And if you're keeping a team like Manly to 12, while I think Manly were flat, it means you're showing the effort areas on defense, which is what the Tigers have been missing for the last few years. Hugely. Like, they've gone wooden spoons. They're not going to get it this year, and they don't anywhere deserve to. They're 12th at the moment. They're mathematically a chance to make the 8 still. But if you were to tell me, looking at a team that finished 12th, like, I think that would be fair. I definitely think this team is better than them, for sure. I don't think they're a finals team. But I think there's way worse teams than them at the moment. And quite frankly, I'd easily put Tigers above Manly at the moment, as we just saw in the weekend. But if you're comparing the Tigers to, like, your Knights even like Eels, Titans at the moment. Tigers win every day of the week at the moment, and you just haven't said that for a while. And they have got the Cowboys this Sunday at Leichhardt. We fucking know they love Leichhardt. That is going to be a huge Sunday Arvo game. They're almost, I mean, not a lock is definitely not something I'm going to say, but they're always a very, very good chance at Leichhardt on a Sunday Arvo. And I love that Tigers-Cowboys matchup. It was the first grand final I ever remember as a kid, 2005. Benji Marshall, Pat Richards, see ya later. And quick shout out, Adam Dewey. This dude's in career best form at the moment, and love to see it too. Off that brutal injury that he had in 2023, and that even kept him out even over half of 2024. Started looking a little bit better last year. We always knew he was going to come out a bit slow coming back from that injury, and then even a little bit this year. I think he's been trying to find his right position. Mate, he's fucking killing it at the moment. He's only 27 still. This is what we're not understanding. We think he's a veteran, or he's like 30 plus, because he's been around for so long. He's just turned 27, playing at 7, scored a try, had an assist, 5 goal kicks as well, 115 Supercoach points. Have that, Lordy. Extreme pod at 5'8" and CTW for the come home. Can he back up the tons? I mean, he's turning up for fun at the moment, so I wouldn't put it past him. And he looks like he's enjoying his footy. He's just extended with the Tigers as well, and he looks like he's enjoying his footy with the Tigers, and that's what you want to see. And if they can build this core foundation around, I want to go play for the West Tigers, because they look like they want to play for each other, and that is the main thing. Like, that is what we haven't seen for a long time. They haven't made finals since like 2010, or maybe once since 2010. And we're talking about, they've had so many issues with their board and players are getting in. We say it every year that they feel like they turned the corner, but I believe this is the third win in a row. They're actually looking like they're playing really good footy. Buller's in really good form. You got Buller, Luai, Dewey at 7, and Appy at 9. I think that's a really good spine, and they've got really good young talent coming through as well. So, exciting times coming up for the Tigers. Really intrigued to see how they finish off the season in the last 3 games. If they can go bang, 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 they are still mathematically a chance at the 8. I think they'll still win a couple games coming home. I can see them finishing like 11th or 10th, which if you said the Tigers are going to finish 11th or 10th at the start of the year, I would have said green tick. In terms of first year with Luai, Dewey's back, figuring out their halves, I think it's a big success for what they've had this year for sure. And then the last game of the week, we absolutely called this to a T. Don't mean to beat my own or toot my own horn. Cowboys 38-4 against Newcastle, and this was just all Cowboys pretty much from start to finish. Your typical Sunday Arvo Townsville performance. They blow them out of the water, but holy shit, the Knights blow some tries. They absolutely bombed about 3 in the first half. There was an absolute unreal try-saving tackle from Drinky. Vitano dropped it under the sticks. He was clearly in. And then they had another drop ball as well. They blew some tries. They had the opportunities. But in terms of your Cowboys attack, it's what we expected. Drinky looked good. Dearden looked good. Nano looked good as well when he was in that second half especially. Jackson Purdue is such a talent as well. He scored an awesome try. But to be honest, as I said, I know the Cowboys smashed, but yeah, it was just a really weird game to finish off your week. Just errors, your kind of entertainment, fun game, just like errors were happening, but the errors were happening after a big line break or a big play and just not quite finishing off the try. Like, I know the Knights made a break, and then Vitano dropped it in the second half, and then in the end goal, Drinky picked it up and started running the other way. And he nearly ran the length of the field, gave it to Valame, and just didn't quite score. And then they had every chance to go right, cocked it up, drop the ball, and you're just like, how the hell have they not scored there? But it just summed up the game. It really just summarized the whole game in terms of how it is. They just completely botched some tries. 38-4, very lucky to go under the total of like 48.5. That game on any other day, I think, goes way over the total. Shout out Tommy Lol, who was on the over. Unlucky, pal. But I said, Drinky was sublime. Let's go through his stats. 2 tries, 2 assists, 206 meters. Yes, he did have that big run, as I said, from the in goal. 71 post-contact, which you do love to see from Drinky. Had a line break for his try. Had a line break assist as well. 146 Supercoach points. I believe he updated to about 152. That was an easy captaincy. I was very happy to have the captaincy on Drinkwater. If you were curious how I did go, 1490 for me in Supercoach this week. Despite me having Garrick, Watson, and AJ, I'll definitely take that score. The Drinky score 100% helped. In terms of Newcastle, they've got some serious issues going on. We kind of knew preseason that they'll be anywhere to the bottom 4. They were favourite to pretty much win the spoon. Pong has been injured most of the year. You got Dylan Brown coming in next year, but do you want Dylan Brown next year there with Adam O'Brien? Let's not beat around the bush there. I think Adam O'Brien, it's nearly time to go. I know he's got that big buyout clause, but where to? Where to? They've got Jacob Arthur and Jack Cogger playing in the halves with a debutant fullback who is going to be a talent. And you've got Brayley at 9, and you still got Bradman Best at center, and Gagai went back to center. But where is this team going? What's the future plan for Newcastle Knights look like? They've got Dylan Brown, they've got their big man, but in terms of Dylan Brown's not going to fix this team. No way, not a chance. And you've still got KP next year, but who else is going to help these guys out? And where's the shape? Where is the DNA for the Knights where you go oh, that looks like Knights footy, and that looks like what they're building. They just got Dom Young back. Yeah, cool, he's back. Yeah, awesome team culture, but to put up what they did last week against Panthers, conceding 48, to concede 38 the next week against the Cowboys, and I think it could have been more. You're looking at 86 points in 2 weeks for a team that was defensively good for most of the season, and their attack is just abysmal. I think it's 11 first halves now that they've been scoreless. It is tied for the record this year from the Tigers back in 2014, I believe. They could easily, last 3 games, easily have a first half again with no points. As I said, where is this team? Where is the points going to come from in this team? You cannot expect in this last 3 weeks that Jake Arthur, Jack Cogger, Vitano, and Brayley will be putting up points. Unless by some, I could be way wrong, but I'm pretty confident on this. They've got the Broncos this weekend. If you can get a Broncos 9.5, minus 9.5, I think take it. How did the Knights compete? If the Broncos somewhat turn up to what they can, they should absolutely blow this team out the park, knowing that the Knights they've done with defense now. 3 weeks to go. They're in the bottom 4. They've packed it in. I think they've packed it in. Looking ahead to next year, but when you look ahead to next year, apart from Dylan Brown, it's just a blank piece of paper. Who's the coach next year? Who's the 9? Is it going to be Crossland? Brayley's leaving, and who's going to be, is Brown the 7? Who's going to be the 6? Is it going to be Fletcher Sharp? you've got Leo Thompson leaving. Like Kai Pierce-Paul is going to the Tigers. You've got Dylan Lucas who's injured, but who else is going to be in this forward pack for Newcastle next year to provide any sort of go forward? And Tyson Frizzell, yeah, he's great, but he's getting on as well. Like, I don't see the direction from Newcastle, which is it's a shame because Newcastle, the Novocastrians, are so passionate and they deserve to have finals footy as a town. And you can see when they hosted that finals game against the Raiders, the wall of red and blue was insane. And you got to see that more in the NRL. That's what NRL's about, and it's about like the fans that turn up and up. Like the NRL revolves around the fans. That's how they get the money. And like fans don't want to turn up when Adam Bryan is saying that the members don't know what they're talking about in like press conferences and shit. Like, is this the coach to lead the Newcastle Knights to the finals consistently and maybe top 4 and contend in the finals? I'll give you a short answer. It's not yes, and it's actually it's no. It's no. It's no. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in Newcastle. We expected it kind of this year, but these last 2 weeks, they're better. They're better than that. But I don't see them doing much in the last 3 weeks with Arthur and Cogger in the halves, and I thought Vitano was solid. He could have easily scored a couple tries, just not his day on debut. I can clearly see there's a talent there, Connor Vitano. He's been in the New South Wales Cup team, blitzing it. He'll be better for it, but he's not going to get the service from the halves that he's wanting in these last 3 games. So we'll see. I could be wrong. That does it for NRL round 25, though. I'll quickly get into the ladder. Okay, so ladder-wise, with Raiders have just come off the bye. They are still at the top of the table, 4 losses. Next one down, the Storm with 5 losses. However, cracking games this week. We've got Panthers and Raiders, Friday, 6 p.m. And then we've got the Storm Bulldogs, Friday night. It's going to be epic. Unreal. I cannot wait. If Panthers were to beat the Raiders this weekend, and then the Storm were to beat the Bulldogs, the Storm would go the first. Which is pretty crazy, because I think Raiders have been definitely up there, and it looked like they probably had the minor premiership locked in. They even said last week that they probably had it locked in, but it can change just like that. But I do like the Raiders this week against Penrith. They've got a good record against top 8 teams, so why can't they keep doing it? So, Bulldogs at 36. I think they're solidified their top 4 for sure. Can they beat? They can finish top 2. If they beat the Storm this weekend, 100% they can definitely finish top 2. They're not quite there in points difference, but 100% can still finish top 2, get the home final. My boys, the Warriors, 32 points. So we won't finish any higher than 3rd. I can't see it. I think we're going to have to win out. To finish in top 4. Definitely. You got the Panthers 1 point behind us in 5th. They're essentially, 1 win behind us. Broncos are at 30. All these teams, that's what I mean. They've got a better points difference than us, which is a bit scary. Broncos at 30. Sharks are at 30. They're all 1 win behind the Warriors. The Sharks actually have the same amount of wins as the Warriors, and they've got a better points difference. So technically, they're actually above the Warriors at the moment. They're actually in the 4. That's why the Warriors hugely need to win this weekend against the Gold Coast. I will be there. Please win. Please. I am begging. I am absolutely begging for it. And then Roosters at 28. A couple really good wins in a row has put them in the 8th spot by themselves. And you got the Dolphins at 26, man. Oh, they should be on 28. I just feel like the 9th, I'd hate to see them finish 9th again this year. That'd be such a shame. I really think they've had a good year. And I think Katoa's been awesome. You got Seagulls at 24. I think they're all but done. I just don't see them winning out. You got Tigers at 24. We did say mathematically there are a chance. We'll see what happens. just really good to see they're in 11th now. Dragons are at 12th, 22 points, so Tigers are 1 win ahead of the Dragons now. Cowboys in 13th at 21, and then your bottom 4 goes Eels and Rabbitohs at 20 points. So it looks like the Rabbitohs will escape the wooden spoon this year. Shout out to my good mate Grego. I know he'll be absolutely stoked to have avoided, but it's not what he thought would happen at the start of the year. And then you got Knights at 18 points, and then the Titans at the bottom 16 points. It's not looking great for the Titans, although they do have their favourite opponent this weekend, the Warriors. They've got a good record against us. I'm absolutely shitting myself, so... We'll quickly touch on the NRLW a bit. Really good weekend. Not too many upsets. There was one big upset we'll talk about. It was the Wise Girls. They lost to the Raiders. The Raiders had their first win of their season. Congrats to them. Totally deserved the win, 100%. What I will say, it's bloody hard to win a game of footy when you lose 2 players to red card, and not just that, they were in the first half as well. So we had to play the rest of the game like 45 minutes with 11 on the field. And mind you, I'm 100% just saying this right now, that the red cards were deserved for sure. Definitely warranted for sure. Red cards every day of the week, unfortunately, just the way that it goes. But I thought these Wise Girls put in such a tremendous effort. Regardless, 4 tries each it ended up actually finishing on. So Raiders won 20-16. Thought the Wires had a chance at the end there. 4 tries. So yeah, all you miss all our conversions. So 2 more conversions, get half our conversions, and it's 20 all. So completely different game. Get 1 more, you win 22-20. I was super, super proud of the effort that we did show, despite having 11 on the field. Just a really gallant effort, and they could have easily just blown the game away. And like 30-11, maybe if you had a better team on the other side, yes, they get put away, but you can only play what's in front of you. And I'm talking about the grit and the toughness and the effort to want to come back from like 12-0 down, I believe, and then 16-4 down. Or maybe it was 16-0. Like, Taki Mawana, she is so good. She scored 3 of the 4 Warriors tries. And as I said, you can't do too much when it's 13-11. Like, you're going to expect the loss from there. Like, we copped the loser in the team total, which is a shame. But as I said, like, what can you do? You had 11 on the field. Both red cards were warranted. We move on to next week. We're sitting at 6. We're 3-4 for the season. We now play the Sharks. We're playing them at Hamilton again. The Sharks are a good team. They are 4th at the moment, I believe. They were in the finals last year. That's a real big test for us. So we've got to see if we can bounce back, because we had 2 really good wins against Cowboys and the Doggies. This is a little blip. Like, set your mind straight. Get back to business. Let's beat the Sharkies this weekend. Quick one. Next game was the Sharks beat the Titans 12-8. Pretty low scoring game. Not too much happened there. Sharks, they are the better team. They were 10.5 point favourites. Just got the win. Got the job done. Get in. Get out. And Broncos, turning up for Ali Brigginshaw's 50th NRLW game, which is awesome. First one to do it for just their own club as well, which is so good to see. And they absolutely turn up against the Eels, 38-4. And this is where we reach the Women's Player of the Week. Holy shit. Listen, just tune in for this. Julia Robinson, centre for the Broncos. 2 tries, 2 assists, 25 runs, 275 metres, 92 post-contact metres, 14 tackle breaks, 4 line breaks, 1 line break assist, 2 offloads to go with it. Crazy. I did the calculations. It would have been around 190 Supercoach points in a 70-minute game. And we're talking about a centre. Like, this is like one of the best stat lines you'll see, including NRL this year, and one of the better ones I've seen in a very long time. So impressive. Julia Robertson absolutely smashed it. She gets my Women's Player of the Week in all sports that women's play. Absolute shout out to Julia. Awesome performance. Credit to you. Hats off to you. And then we'll go to the next game. So we'll go to just some notable performances. We've got Tegan Berry against the Tigers. She had 28 runs, 219 meters, 56 post-contact meters, 10 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks assists, 3 offloads, in a 16-12 loss. I mean, you can't ask much more from your fullback in a loss like that. Super unlucky not to get the win there. And then in the second last game of the round, the Cowboys did beat the Bulldogs in the last game of the round. We had the Roosters. They got the win against Newcastle, 30-14. Isabel Kelly's 50th and also Keely Davis's 50th. So congrats to those ladies. Roosters now 7 out of 7. 7 wins, 0 losses, sitting comfortably at the top of the table alone. Broncos are 6-1, I believe. And they handed the Knights a second loss of the season. So Knights are still sitting pretty. They're about 3rd or 4th. Still a very good team, even without Tamika Upton this year.